Hello everyone and welcome to this new webinar of Nexum. So this webinar is going to start in 1 minute and we are going to present you this brand new program, Advanced Immersion Workshop, which is a kind of follow-up of your certification program in change management. So you can ask questions during all the presentation. Thanks to the tool, you have a Q&A tab in the tool. You can use it to ask your question, and we will take time at the end of this presentation to answer your questions. So I will give the word to Caroline. Caroline, which is our partner in Denmark, and she is also a Prosci trainer and Prosci consultant. So she's going to present you this program today. So Caroline, I give you the word.
Thank you very much for the presentation, Antoine. And thank you to all you that joined our webinar today for wanting to learn more about the Advanced Immersion Workshop. The agenda for today consists of 3 parts. First, I'll give you an insight into the content and agenda of the Advanced Immersion Workshop, and then a little bit about who are the typical profiles that will attend the workshop, and then finally some information about the next boot camps and time, and then afterwards it's time for some question and answers. In my view, the Advanced Immersion Workshop actually gives you access to the most fun developments from Prosci, taking your projects and yourself to the next level. This slide represents the master plan of the 2 days, where I'll go through the different phases. But on a page, this is, I don't know if you can see what it is, what it's all about. But in the following, I'll go through each of them and give you a little bit more context. This is the scorecard, and this is the punchline. Because on an organizational level and an individual level and at a change management level, we will systematically define the change, track the change, and to what extent we have achieved the change. And this quote by Dan Brown actually pretty much sums up the value of the scorecard. It gives us the big picture and an over time perspective. Because if we're able to see the big picture and keep track over time, the likelihood of achieving better results and outcomes actually increases. Because it gives us something to steer after, we see the challenges in advance, and we're able to take action before something actually goes wrong. In the next section, we shift the language to return on investment and to look at the percentage of the benefits that depend on people changing the way they do their job. It's a little bit of a sidekick to the scorecard, but it gives us a tool to put change management into the context of expected benefits of the project. And in the definition phase, this is really an important thing of it. The next thing is about the project health. And project health, we measure through the PCT, the Project Change Triangle. And it's important because this actually provides us a metric to assess the overall health of the projects. And in this section of the workshop, we take PCT to the next level, and it becomes a true diagnostic tool, where we will dive in and see actually all the different ways that you can use the PCT, both for conducting PCT assessments, as a tool to evaluate the health, as a tool to identify key risk factors, to drive next steps, tracking progress, creating a shared vision, and also actually to examine an entire portfolio of changes. A lot of fun. And if you're all practitioners on the course, you'll know that organizations don't change, people do. And Edcap provides a tool to help us facilitate individual transitions through assessment and subsequent plans to address gaps. And in this section, we focus on how we can use Edcap to take the pulse of the organization and how we can wove it into the rest. In this section, this section is important because we know that better change management gives better results. Change management itself is not an outcome, but it's an activity, so we can't measure it. What we can do, however, is to evaluate our change management practice against best practice. And here you'll get introduced to a tool to do just that, and also give some guidelines to what can you specifically do to improve. And all these areas that we go through, that I just went through, are actually supported by applications on the Prosci portal that you will get access to as part of the workshop. So there'll be tools actually supporting all the things in the scorecard. So on this slide, you see a sum up of what will actually happen over the course of the program. If you look at more systematically, in each of them, we'll go through why, how, and what. And the reason we do it like that, I think, is actually because the guy who made the course, Jim Creasy, has a Simon Sinek crush. But nevertheless, we'll start with finding out why was a tool created, how to use it, and then finally, what questions and problems can the tools be used to solve on our projects. And day one will be kind of a new way of thinking about change management, and day two will be more about a new approach to content that you're already familiar with if you're a practitioner. So that sums up to agenda that looks like this. And as you can see, we'll be starting with a networking breakfast. And that is actually also a very important part of the workshop, to network and learn from fellow advanced practitioners. And I'll come into a bit more to that on the next slide. And then on the right side, you'll see all the material and the license on the Prosci portal that you will get at the course. So you don't only get an introduction to all the tools and how you use them, but you actually also get a 1-year access to the tools afterwards. Learning objectives. So my clear objective for participants in this workshop is to be able to boost their change management toolbox and to get new ideas and tools on how to drive change management in projects even better. And that also gives us a hint to who is a normal participant. And I would say that those who attend would beneficially have some experience from working with change management already, and preferably already a certified practitioner, because that is giving, you need some previous understanding of change management to really engage and get the benefits from the dialogues during the workshop. We held this session 1 time earlier, and here are some quotes or remarks from the previous participants. My own experience from that first workshop was, and what I really found energizing, is the engagement from the participants and to discuss change management with change managers who already have experiences with the jobs and the tools, because it really gives the opportunity to have a truly advanced and enriching dialogues around change management. And with that said, I hope that you would consider attending the next Advanced Immersion Workshop that will be held at May 9th in English, or in November 14th in French at the Château Forme La Grande Abbé de la Ramée in Belgium. And that was a brief introduction to the Advanced Immersion Workshop. Now Antoine will take over for a question and answer session. And then also, if you afterwards have some questions, you're very welcome to contact me personally after the webinar. So over to you, Antoine. Have we received any questions?
Yes, we have, and maybe you can put the other slide with your contact information. So you have here the email address and the telephone number of Caroline if you have any question. We have received actually 3 different questions. The first one, and I can already answer to you, are you going to receive the slide afterwards? The answer is yes. And this is more a question for you, Caroline. What do you think that is the most valuable part of the Advanced Immersion Workshop for participants?
I think it's actually twofold. So one thing is definitely the tools. When I was introduced to it myself the first time, I could see that I got a much easier, more structured way to work with change management. It really took it to the next level for me. And then it's also a chance to talk to fellow change managers on the challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis. In many organizations, you're kind of lonely as a change manager. So it's really nice to meet like-minded people who are facing the same challenges.
Okay, great. Thank you. Another question here, what's the difference between the toolbox that you have presented during this webinar and the one that participants have received at their certification?
Oh, great question. So most of it's the same tools and concepts because it is based on the same. The difference is the way that you use them. The scorecard, as I said, is a more structured way to define and follow up on your change and a great way to follow different locations of an implementation. For example, moreover, you're offered some tools to gather data into your survey process. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Another question, do participants need to be a certified practitioner to attend this, this Advanced Immersion Workshop? Is it mandatory? Is it a recommendation?
It's definitely a recommendation. I would say at least some kind of formal change management training. It can be another certification. It doesn't have to be a Prosci certification, but having some kind of, have tried to work with change management on projects before would definitely be beneficial. Otherwise, I would advise to start with taking the certification if this is something you will start to embark on.
Okay, perfect. I think for the moment, that's all regarding the questions. If you do have other questions, of course, do not hesitate to contact Caroline. I will send you, following this webinar, the slides that we have presented to you, and Caroline will be in copy of this email. So thank you for attending this, this webinar. I hope that it was useful for you. Thank you, Caroline, for the presentation. And I wish you a good afternoon and a good end of week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.